ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
नारायणं नमस्कृत्य
नारायणं नमस्कृत्य
नरं चैव नरोत्तमं
नरं चैव नरोत्तमं
देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं
देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं
ततो जयमुदीरये।
ततो जयमुदीरये।
नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु
नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु
नित्यं भागवतसेवया
नित्यं भागवतसेवया
भगवती उत्तमश्लोके
भगवती उत्तमश्लोके
भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी।
भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी।
Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, third chapter, text 21. Please repeat. Tataha
ततः
saptadashe
सप्तदशे
jataha
जातः
tatah saptadashe jataha
ततः सप्तदशे जातः
satyavatyam
सत्यवत्यां
parasharat
पराशरात्
satyavatyam parasharat
सत्यवत्यां पराशरात्
चक्रे
चक्रे
वेदतरोः
वेदतरोः
शाखा
शाखा
चक्रे वेदतरो शाखा
चक्रे वेदतरो शाखा
दृष्ट्वा
दृष्ट्वा
पुंसः
सः
अल्पमेधसः
पुंसः
दृष्ट्वा पुंसोऽल्पमेधसः
दृष्ट्वा पुंसोऽल्पमेधसः
ततः सप्तदशे जातः
ततः सप्तदशे जातः
सत्यवत्यां पराशरात्
सत्यवत्यां पराशरात्
चक्रे वेदतरो शाखा
चक्रे वेदतरो शाखा
दृष्ट्वा पुंसोऽल्पमेधसः
दृष्ट्वा पुंसोऽल्पमेधसः
ततः सप्तदशे जातः
ततः सप्तदशे जातः
सत्यवत्यां पराशरात्
सत्यवत्यां पराशरात्
चक्रे वेदतरो शाखा
चक्रे वेदतरो शाखा
दृष्ट्वा पुंसोऽल्पमेधसः
दृष्ट्वा पुंसोऽल्पमेधसः
ततः सप्तदशे जातः
ततः सप्तदशे जातः
सत्यवत्यां पराशरात्
सत्यवत्यां पराशरात्
चक्रे वेदतरो शाखा
चक्रे वेदतरो शाखा
दृष्ट्वा पुंसोऽल्पमेधसः
दृष्ट्वा पुंसोऽल्पमेधसः
Others can lead.
ततः
सप्तदशे जातः
ततः सप्तदशे जातः
यत्यां पराशरः
सत्यवत्यां पराशरात्
चक्रे वेदतरो शाखा
चक्रे वेदतरो शाखा
स्वापुंसोऽल्पमेधसः
दृष्ट्वा पुंसोऽल्पमेधसः
ततः सप्तदशे जातः
ततः सप्तदशे जातः
सत्यवत्यां पराशरात्
सत्यवत्यां पराशरात्
चक्रे वेदतरो शाखा
चक्रे वेदतरो शाखा
दृष्ट्वा पुंसोऽल्पमेधसः
दृष्ट्वा पुंसोऽल्पमेधसः ततः thereafter Saptadashe
सप्तदशे
in the 17th incarnation
in the 17th incarnation
Jataha
जातः
admitted Satyavatyam
सत्यवत्यां
in the womb of Satyavati
in the womb of Satyavati
Parashara
पराशरात्
by Parashara Muni
वै पराशर मुनि
Chakre
चक्रे
prepared Vedataroho
वेदतरोः
of the desired tree of the Vedas
of the tree of the Vedas
Shakhaha
शाखाः
branches
branches
Drishva
दृष्ट्वा
we see
we see
Pumsaha the people in general
the people in general
Alpamedhasaha
अल्पमेधसः
less intelligent. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. Thereafter, the 17th incarnation of Godhead, Sri Vyasadeva, appeared in the womb of Satyavati through Parashara Muni, and he divided the one Veda into several branches and sub-branches, seeing that the people in general were less intelligent. Please repeat. Thereafter, in the 17th incarnation
in the 17th incarnation
of Godhead,
of Godhead,
Sri Vyasadeva
Sri Vyasadeva
appeared
appeared
in the womb of Satyavati
in the womb of Satyavati
through Parashara Muni,
through Parashara Muni,
and he divided
and he divided
the one Veda
the one Veda
into several branches
into several branches
and sub-branches,
and sub-branches,
seeing that
seeing that
the people in general
the people in general
were less intelligent.
were less intelligent.
Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Originally, the Veda is one, but Srila Vyasadeva divided the original Veda into four, namely Sama, Yajur, Rig, Atharva, and then again they were explained in different branches like the Puranas and the Mahabharata. Vedic language and the subject matter are very difficult for ordinary men. They are understood by the highly intelligent and self-realized Brahmanas. But the present age of Kali is full of ignorant men. Even those who are born by Brahmana father are in the present age no better than the Shudras or the women. The twice born men, namely the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas and Vaishyas, are expected to undergo a cultural purificatory process known as samskaras. But because of the bad influence of the present age, the so-called members of the Brahmana and other high-order families are no longer highly cultured. They are called the Dvijabandhus, or the friends of the family members of the twice born. But these Dvijabandhus are classified among the Shudras and the women. Srila Vyasadeva divided the Vedas into various branches and sub-branches for the sake of the intelligent classes like the Dvijabandhus, Shudras and women. This means the Bhakti Vedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunnitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this is the 17th incarnation of Lord Krishna. The third chapter in the first canto, creation, and Krishna is the source of all incarnations. After 16th incarnation, 17th incarnation is explained. Thereafter, Saptadashi, 17th incarnation, who appeared, Satyavatyam Parashara, Vyasadeva appeared in the womb of Satyavati, begotten by Parashara Muni. And his activities are described Chatre Vedataro Shakha. He prepared vast Vedic literatures, and those Vedic literatures are called Desire Tree, and they have many shakhas, upashakhas, branches and sub-branches. Why did he do that? He was able to see Drishtva, Pumsolpa Menasaha. The people in general, they were Alpa Menasaha. Alpa Menasaha means less intelligence or less brain substance. So this incarnation is a very special incarnation of Narayana. Narayana himself is also called as Veda Vyasa. Why is he called as Veda Vyasa? Because he is the one who split that original Atharva Veda into 4 divisions. Sama, Yajur, Rig, Atharva. And then he created 108 Upanishads, 18 Puranas. Then, not being happy with all these, he also created Ramayana and Mahabharata. Why did he do that? He understood that the age which is going to come now, all those Vedic literatures were originally in the form of Shruti. The disciple is hearing once the shloka, he understood the shloka, he remembers, and he passes on through hearing and chanting. Then, as Kali-yuga progressed, as Kali-yuga started, Vedavyasa understood that it has to be written so that the people who are going to take birth are not in a position to hear, remember and understand. He put it in writing. And he also compiled Mahabharata and Ramayana and other Puranas. Prabhupada is explaining that in Kali Yuga, all the people who are taking birth are of one category. They are either Dvijabandhus or Shudras or women. All of them are in the same category. Stri, Shudra, Dvijabandhuna, Trayina, Shruti Gochara. So they have no capability, they have no comprehensive ability to absorb the Vedic literatures. So he compiled simple literatures in the form of stories for people to read and apply in their life. So as Srila Prabhupada is explaining here, this verse gives us an understanding that Srila Vyasadeva is a literary incarnation of Lord Krishna, and in this incarnation he was the son of Satyavati, who later on married Shantanu Maharaj, the father of Bhishma Dev, and still, even before the marriage, she gave birth to Vyasadeva, still remained a virgin by the blessings of Parashara Muni. And Vyasadeva is not an ordinary person. Prabhupada is explaining, just like Kunti Maharani gave birth to Karna even before her marriage, and Satyavati also gave birth to Vyasadeva before her marriage. These were not regular occurrences, these were very special occurrences. And there was a situation where even those times women used to give birth to children before their marriage. And it is not, they are not giving birth to ordinary children, it is Vyasadeva who is Lord himself. In this shloka, Prabhupada is explaining about Alpa Vedasaha. Alpa Vedasaha means less brain substance. Why it is said like that? Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita, all those who worship the demigods, they are called as Alpa Vedasaha. They have less brain substance. Why are they called as less intelligent? Krishna explains, Kama is तैस्तैर् हृतज्ञानाः प्रपद्यन्ते अन्यदेवताः. Overpowered by various तैस्तैर् कामः, so many material desires, mad to fulfill their lust, their intelligence is stolen away by these material desires. Hritajnanaha, to finally take shelter, prapadyante anya devata. There are many devatas available for people to take shelter. And this is the arrangement created by the Supreme Lord for all of us here on the Bhuloka to satisfy our material desires. All of us have material desires. And Krishna has given full independence. Whatever kind of desire you want, you deserve it and you desire it to be fulfilled. So what is that process? What is the Lord's arrangement, universal arrangement for people to satisfy their lusty material desires? He has his agents who are more powerful, who can provide benediction, who can bestow benediction upon those living entities who seek to satisfy their material desires. So he has an arrangement. If you want to get rid of diseases, he has an arrangement to worship some God. We want knowledge, worship Saraswati. You want a good wife, worship Umadevi. So I need a particular material facility to enjoy. I have to approach legally the demigods for satisfying my desires. This is the process ordained by Lord Krishna himself. Now, if I have to satisfy my material desire, I have to have a strong desire to achieve that benediction. I have to satisfy that particular demigod. I need some facility. I need some guidance. I need to know the process. What are the rituals I have to perform to please that particular demigod? I need resources to perform that rituals. I need faith in that demigod, that this demigod is going to satisfy my desire. And a particular mode of devotional attitude is required to worship that demigod. And I need inclination to worship that demigod according to the nature I have acquired. Either it is Rajoguna, Tamoguna, or Sattva-guna. So now, on their own, on ourselves, on our own, we cannot get any of these. And when we desire faith, inclination, facilities to worship, the procedures, all that Krishna has to provide. Even a strong desire to worship that particular demigod, Krishna is saying, I am giving you that faith, I am giving you that desire to fulfill that material facility. So we have to approach the demigod, please them, follow all these procedures. Krishna has to involve in every moment. He has to give faith. Then, if the demigod is pleased, the demigod, who is also a functionary of the Supreme Lord, he has to bestow that benediction. To give that facility, demigod himself is also not independent to give whatever facility the worshippers are willing to achieve. Demigods cannot bestow any benediction, cannot infuse any such affinity of satisfying that desire or faith in that demigod or an impetus to worship that demigod. That Lord Krishna has to provide. So we understand, without Supreme Lord's will, without His permission, without His sanction, neither normal human beings can desire for those satisfaction of those material desires, nor those desires can be fulfilled without the supreme will of the Lord. Why it is like that? Because both of us, we normal human beings and the demigods, are part parcels of the universal body of the Lord. So one part is asking another part to help. Just like my left hand is not proper, my right hand is helping, something like that. So this is the arrangement set up by the Supreme Lord. Even the living entities on the earth planet are also part and parcels. Demigods are also part and parcels. They are more powerful. So if the living entity is not ready to surrender to Krishna, we go to the demigods, who are here, super seniors or seniors, or more powerful people. Now this is the arrangement where living entities can fulfill desires to the demigods. Both are not independent, both are dependent on the Supreme Being. So why it is called? Why Krishna is saying we are less intelligent if we approach the demigods? This is an important aspect. He has only created the arrangement. He only has facilitated. He is only giving us faith. He is only giving us all the facilities. The reason is we forget that everything is the property of the Supreme Lord. Demigods are not called as intelligent, but they never forget everything is the property of the Supreme Lord. They just act as an agent. We living entities think every demigod is a separate god. And we think all of them are competing with each other to become the Supreme Lord. We think Ganesha is wanting to become the Supreme Lord, Lord Shiva is wanting to become Supreme Lord, Devi is wanting to become the Supreme Lord. With this misconception, we worship the demigod, that is why we are called Alpa Meghasana. And not understanding what is the purpose of the whole setup, we worship them. That's why we are called Alpa Meghasana. The fruits or the results or the benefits or the achievements or the enjoyment what we get by worshipping the demigods, Krishna says, all are perishable, all are temporary. The demigods who are bestowing this validation, they are also temporary. And if I continue to worship them, I finally go to their planets. Those planets are also temporary, including the Brahmaloka. And the validation they are bestowing are also temporary. I am also temporary. So, why am I behind this temporary benefit? Not understanding that all of us are part of the body, of the universal body of the Supreme Lord. To feed the universal body is to put food into the mouth rather than feeding the other portions of the body. That is why I am called Alpa Meghasana. So these are, at least they are following the Supreme Lord. Now there are modern day Alpa Meghasana. They don't want to follow the Supreme Lord's process, wherein gradually they will come to surrender to Supreme Lord by worshipping the Devatas after many lifetimes. Modern day Alpa Meghasana are mismanaging the whole scenario. A news article said a new virus is going to come, that is the dead virus. In China, $300 billion, a company, a biggest company, is having to pay to their investors, their employees. They have built more than 30 to 40 huge skyscrapers, and that is not according to the regulations of the local courts. So they have to dismantle that. Billions of dollars will be lost. And all the employees who have been working hard for building those skyscrapers, they have no house, they are not being paid salaries. Investors from other countries and in China who have invested, they are stranded. So, As soon as we see somebody is coughing, sneezing, what comes to mind today is, oh, am I affected with coronavirus? 2 years back, nobody was thinking. So that is why we are called Alpa Virasaha. There was one millionaire who said, people who are poor are remaining poor because they are spending all their money. People who are middle class are always middle class because they are saving all their money. People who are millionaires are investing all their money. That's why they are millionaires. Now, if you see somebody is invested in a 300 billion project, their all money is gone. That is, they are called Alpa Virasaha. So Prabhupada says Alpa Virasaha because in our skull there is only cow dung, so that has to be clean. We are working, we are laboring every day like an ass for so-called progress, so-called advancement, trying to satisfy all our material desires, which will end only in frustration. Now, what should be done? If I have material desires, God is saying that you surrender to me. Supreme Lord is unlimited. His favor is unlimited. His mercy is unlimited. So, the mercy of the Supreme Lord on His pure devotees are also unlimited. Pure devotees know Ekala Ishvara Krishna Arasava Pratya. There is only one master, all of them are servants. One who has this understanding is called Sumedha Saha. He is not Alpamedha Saha. So pure devotees reject demigod worship. Their rejection doesn't mean they disrespect. They also know they are very powerful living entities and they are also performing devotional service to Supreme Lord Vishnu Narayana in managing the affairs of the universe. So what are we in comparison to the demigods in performing even devotional service? What is the quality, what is the caliber, what is the power of those Siddhas, Charanas, Vidyadharas, Gandharvas, what singing ability they have got, what shloka chanting ability they have got, what consciousness they have got. So pure devotees know that even we, when we are rendering devotional service, we are very limited as a human being. So in the process of devotional service, we sometimes get enamored by material desires, even in the service of the Lord. So Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructs Rupa Goswami, if the devotee is worshipping the Supreme Lord and at the same time has material desires, that kind of material enjoyment, seeking material enjoyment while performing devotional service is contradictory in desiring. I am desiring to serve the Lord, at the same time I am desiring material benefit, material profit. So he says, Bhukti Mukti Adi Vancha Yadi Mane Hai Sadhana Karile Prema Utpanna Na Hai. So, if one is infected in the mind, in the heart with material desires, bhukti or mukti, one who wants to achieve material liberation, he cannot rise himself to the platform of prema. He cannot come to the highest platform of devotion. He may be engaged in devotional service according to rules and regulations. So we are engaged in sadhana bhakti superficially. If our heart is infected with bhukti, mukti, adi vancha, bhukti, mukti and adi means many other desires, I will not achieve the highest perfection. Then he says, भुक्ति मुक्ति स्पृहा यावत् पिशाचे हृदि वर्तते तावत् भक्ति सुखस्यात्र कथम अभ्युदयो भवेत्. So this bhukti and mukti. Bhukti means satisfying material desires, approaching demigods for material enjoyment, even Krishna for material enjoyment, and want to get rid of the material world and become one with the Supreme Lord. These two kind of desires are compared to witches, and they keep always haunting us in our heart. As long as these witches are haunting our heart, so long we cannot relish, we cannot feel the transcendental bliss. So long these witches are there in our heart, we cannot enjoy the transcendental bliss of performing devotional service. So next Krishna says, the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Krishna kahe ama bhaje mage vishaya sukha. Krishna is saying, this devotee is worshipping me, ama bhaje mage vishaya sukha. He is wanting also material happiness. Now what should I do? So this devotee is asking material happiness and doing my service. It is like Amrita Chadi Visha Mage. It is like the devotee is asking poison. Amrita Chadi, he is setting aside Amrita, the nectar, ambrosia, and he is asking for poison. Ye bada murkha. He is very foolish. So what will Krishna do? Krishna is saying, Ami Vijna, at least I am intelligent, Lord is himself intelligent. Hey Murkha Vishaya Kene Dipa, to this fool who doesn't know what is nectar, what is poison, why should I give him material happiness? What will I give now? Saying, Swacharanamrita diya Vishayava Bhulaiva. Now, for this devotee who is rendering devotional service and asking for material happiness, what I will give? I will give the nectar of the shelter of my lotus feet. Swacharanamrita diya. Gradually, this devotee will Vishaya Bhulaiva. He will forget all those material desires while engaging in the service of my lotus feet. There are many categories of transcendentalists, or it may be a karmi, or a jnani, or a yogi, anybody who takes shelter of the Lord or comes in contact with a devotee and starts rendering devotional service without their knowing Lord is ready to give love of God and give him shelter at his lotus feet, so that he gradually forgets what he is aspiring for. If the devotee is aspiring for material opulence, material prosperity, material happiness, without asking in exchange for devotional service, I want all this, and only want to satisfy Krishna, not demanding Krishna anything, only depending on his mercy, God will bestow all the benedictions, God will satisfy all his desires. Now the devotee who is surrendered, whether he is in poverty-stricken condition or he is having lot of opulence, devotee doesn't bother so much. He is only serious in rendering pure devotional service to Lord. He will not bother the Lord for any petty things. So now Lord is saying the reason why he is not going to bestow any benedictions, any material happiness, prosperity to the devotee. He is saying, If a devotee approaches me with material desires, he does not bestow those benedictions because it will make him come again and again to the Lord and keep demanding more benedictions. So that is why Lord knows if I give something to my devotee now, suppose the devotee is thinking, oh, let me do nice devotional service, please Prabhupada, one day I will also become temple president. If I am thinking and doing devotional service, and Lord thinks, oh, if I give him that service, he's going to go, he's going to demand more and more. I am not satisfied at temple because I want to become GBC next. I am not satisfied with GBC, I want to become Guru. So God will not give that to that devotee. Rather, he will continue to engage in his shelter, teach the devotee, and save the devotee from all those kind of desires by engaging him in intense devotional service. So, devotees are saved by the Lord. It is said, Akama sarva kamova moksha kama udarani tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. So, if the devotee is, if the person is akama, he has no material desires, sarva kamova, all the material desires he is possessing. Here he wants moksha. Whatever it is, one should engage in devotional service continuously. This is the message. One should not have any other desire apart from serving the Lord. In whatever category I fit in, I have to continue to engage in intense devotional service. And gradually, the devotee who is aspiring for material benefit, material happiness, material prosperity, he is called as Sakama Bhakta. He will gradually turn into a Akama Bhakta. And that is the confirmation given in Bhagavad Gita. One who is serving the Lord, whether he has desires, no desires, or desiring liberation, he will come to a stage where he understands Yam Labdva Chaparam Labham Manyate Nadikam Tataha. I have obtained the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, now I don't need anything else. That fully satisfied position the devotee will attain, even though he is a Sakama Bhakta, he is a motivated devotee. The devotee is wanting so many desires to be fulfilled. Prabhupada explains it is like a child who is eating a lot of dirty things. So what will the parent do? The parent will give rasgulla, sandesh, so that the child doesn't eat mud again. So if a devotee is asking for material profit, it is like the child wanting to eat mud who has sandesh, rasgulla. That is why devotional service to the Supreme Lord cannot be compared to the worship of a demigod. It's not on the same platform. Devotional service to the Lord is spiritual and worship of the demigod is material. All the material desires devotee carries are impediments on the path of progress. So that is also not favorable, and the best process given to a devotee is to become Sumedha Sada. From Sakama Bhakta to Akama Bhakta, the best process is continue to Tivrena Bhakti Yogena by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy. Krishna Varnam Krisha Krishnam Sango Pangastra Pashanam Yagnai Sankirtanai Raye Nijanti Sumedha Saha. in this age where we are unlucky, mandamati, mandabhagya, in this age we have a very easy formula. That is, bahubir militva gitayati. Get involved in Sankirtana Yagna, where more people congregate. Bahubir militva gitayati. That is Sankirtana Yagna. What will happen? The brain will get cleansed, and that cleansing will make us Sumedha Saha. That is possible by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy, who has appeared as Krishna Varnam. Krishnam Varnam, Krishnam Varnayati iti Krishna Varnam. So either Krishna himself or Krishna's incarnation is called Krishna Varnam. Trisha Krishna. His complexion is a Krishna, non-blackish. And this is referring to the golden complexion. And that incarnation, he has appeared Sa-anga, Upa-anga, Astra, Parshadam. He has come with his associates, Sa-anga, and Upa-anga, he has come with his servants. Astra, weapons of chanting of Hare Krishna. Parshadam, very confidential associates. What is he doing? Yagnehi Sankirtanai Pyare. He is propagating the best yagna of worshipping the Supreme Lord by congregational chanting of the holy names. Yajanti Sumedha, which is meant for the most intelligent class of men. So although we are all Alpa Vedasaha, they have been made Sumedha, our brains are getting cleansed every day by this process of chanting. Even though we are performing devotional service with Sakama, so many desires, Krishna is converting that into gradually by cleansing our heart, which is haunted by two witches, Bhukti and Mukti. He is helping us to gradually overcome that. So even Vyasadev's intention is to help those Alpa Vedasaha to become Sumedhasaha. Srila Prabhupada, as a representative of Vyasadeva, has given us this very simple formula. So even as a devotee, one who gives fine attention to every service is also called Sumedhasaha. Or when neglectfully done, then it is Alpa Vedasaha. A devotee recalls that she heard from a devotee in New Vrindavan that she used to get Prabhupada's dreams, and she went to Srila Prabhupada and said, Prabhupada, I see you in the dreams every day. So then Prabhupada said, as long as I am there, directly you take instructions from me. When I leave, I will come in the dream and keep guiding you. So this devotee had an impression of reading Shrutakirti Prabhu's book, where Shrutakirti Prabhu was slipping down shoe of Srila Prabhupada, the footwear of Srila Prabhupada. And then she also got a similar kind of a dream. And then she is in front of Srila Prabhupada sitting on a very big, grand Vyasasana. And then this devotee is also trying to slip shoes in the feet of Srila Prabhupada. So Prabhupada bent down, looked at the devotee and then looked back. And then Prabhupada asked this devotee in the dream, can you please get me a new good pair of socks? And then this devotee slipped in another shoes and then she woke up. So she then later went to many temples and she saw devotees are all wearing nice winter wear, socks, sweater, shawl, cap, everything. And then the Prabhupada deity, Prabhupada doesn't have socks and winter wear. So then when she asked the devotees said, it's not yet winter and devotees are all wearing nice winter wear. So she says that this is called fine attention, where we are only focused on maintaining our own body, taking care of our own clothes, our own food, and sometimes we may not pay attention to the deities the way it is supposed to be done. Because Prabhupada is not an idol here. Prabhupada is personally sitting and watching everybody. What we are doing, how we pay obeisances, what is happening to our consciousness. So at least beautifully we should be able to take care of deities, either Prabhupada or the main deities to the best of our ability. This is what we learn. So that means from Alpa Vedasaha to Suvedasaha I am progressing, I am becoming more mature. Not only that, when I am dealing with other devotees, I am very sensitive, very careful. So these are all some of the points we can understand from today's lecture. We will close. Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada